Hey.
G'day everybody, welcome back to Risky Rollers. I'm Dalton.
I'm Ed.
And behind the camera we have...
Trajan
Trajan
Lawrence,
as he's known in the Discord, or LeBridger, or Lawrence as we know him, or The Drill in some of that chat.
Get into that.
Context a bit later.
Yeah.
We have just come back from the Steel City Showdown up in Newcastle, New South Wales. It was a fantastic teams event run over the weekend by Hayden Ford and all those lads up there. We went up as a Risky Rollers team, the three of us plus Lockie, who unfortunately is a bit under the weather tonight, and Dylan Cowan, who you may know from on the channel, on the podcast, or from competitive events all over Australia. We went up as a team, played a lot of 40k, had a good weekend, and we're here to talk to you all about it.
Yeah.
Before we get too far into it, thank you to all of our sponsors, General Games, Dice Arcade, and miniaturescenery.com.au. Go check them out, links down in the description below. And make sure to check out all of our events. Our next one coming up is a Blood Bowl event on the Risky Rollers Winter Cup on August 13th. That's going to be kicking off in a big way. And then on the 19th and 20th, we have our GT, Power Behind the Throne, streaming by Scotty49D, as well as just a fantastic bunch of people coming along to that. Links to all of those and the Risky Rollers events group on Facebook down in the description below. Go check them out. While you're down there, hit that subscribe, the like, and the little notification bell to catch all of our fantastic content. A lot of stuff coming up. A lot of exciting things coming up in the near future.
Oh, yeah.
Little man's coming. Little Space Marines. It's going to be awesome. But yes, so we have just been away and we thought we would bring a roundup of the event to you guys. Jump in chat, ask questions, etc. Otherwise, I think we'll probably just start at the start.
Yeah.
So we were, full disclosure, we were invited up as content creators. We still paid, but we had a bit of a reduced price for it.
That was good.
That was kind of cool. So we're invited up as content creators, so we get to talk about it, and there is a vlog video thing coming out soon. I'm still working on that. It's going to be an interesting new video style for us, so that's cool. I enjoyed shooting a lot of that.
I'm excited to see that video.
Yeah.
I really want to see what comes out.
It's going to be cool. And yeah, so we all flew up together.
We did, yeah.
Which was a bit of a coincidence. I don't think we planned it.
Yeah.
I didn't know you guys were on the same flight until like the day before.
It turns out there's not that many flights to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Dalton and Ed. So Hayden is on chat. So
Hey, Hayden.
thank you for coming down.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us, man. It was good. We enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Hayden Ford down in the chat there, TO for the event. So give him some love down there as well.
For sure.
Ask him questions as well. But yeah, so we all flew up Friday morning. All on the same flight, coincidentally. I think you two probably booked together.
Yeah, we did.
And Carl. And then Lockie and I just went, well, flights to Newcastle. I guess that's on that flight.
Yeah.
There's like two of them. And so we're all there at 6 o'clock in the morning, getting on our plane.
Yeah, the day before.
The day before the event, which was pretty cool. Now, Lawrence, would you like to tell us what happened at the airport? Because
somebody first asked me to bring some magnets.
Yeah.
Right? But then when I do magnets, I always would have my drill.
your little magnet kit. You got your magnets, your glue, your drill, your knife, all that kind of
He's
stuff.
the magnet man for the
my
channel,
favorite Tamiya drill.
It's a good pin
got
vise.
the pen vise, right?
Yeah.
But I'm so lazy, I forgot to put that in my check-in baggage. And then I thought I would be, would be clear in my screening.
Yep. And they sort of went, hello.
Hello.
What's this?
What's
Like
this?
6-inch little
metal,
spiky weapon that...
He said, I don't think you can, have it inside, blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, it's just a hobby kit drill. But then,
I don't think it matters what it is when you could do some damage with it.
I was very devastated. This is my favorite drill.
So it was. And
lucky because of that.
So make sure to give Lawrence, aka The Drill, some love down in the comments section.
Henceforth known as The Drill.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
It was so funny.
It was a great way to brighten the Friday morning.
Yeah.
We did eventually get him another pin vise. I think we did we?
No, just the drill bit.
Oh, the drill
Just
bit.
the drill bit.
We got more drill bits for him, but no pin vise for them. We'll have to hook him up with one down here. So that was good fun, and we all cruised off. Apparently they thought I was going to miss the plane. I was just busy in the bathrooms for a while. I was there.
Yeah, we all got there.
Yeah.
Like a bit early, and then you texted and said, "Oh, you guys are a bit early," and it was all of us were there.
Yeah.
So we were like, "Oh, I hope he's gonna make it."
At the time, I was like 10 minutes out of the airport in an Uber. I'm like, I'll be there. It's fun.
Yeah, but we had no idea where you were.
It was pretty funny because none of us had talked to each other about it. I didn't know if we were going to see each other in the airport or we were just going to get to Newcastle and be like, oh, hey guys.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I'll cruise through.
Yeah.
And then you're all just standing at the gate being like, where are you? And I'm like, they're still boarding. It's fine.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then Carl and I just randomly got seated next to each other in the exit row, which was cool. We had leg room. We chatted. It was good.
It's the best.
Yeah. So we flew up, and then we cruised into town to check out the event venue. Let's talk about the venue for a bit, because the venue was pretty cool. So it was the Newcastle City Hall.
It's right in the middle of the town.
Right in the middle of the town, as it is. And it was a good venue. I liked it. Really nice looking building outside, very central, close to everything in Newcastle. Yeah. So you go in, you go down, and there's big event spaces. I think they had both an upstairs and a downstairs event space, and we were in the downstairs one. It was just basically a big hall full of tables, full of awesome people playing 40k. Yeah. Had a bar there. It was nice.
It never hurts. Yep.
Coffee wasn't great at the bar, but plenty of good coffee shops around. If you're coming from Melbourne, very Melbourne-like coffee shops.
It is actually, yeah.
And some of them had pretty good coffee, so good on them.
It was a really nice place, just like 500 meters from the place, with like the books and stuff.
It was gorgeous. It was closed on Sunday though.
Me and Lawrence and Carl went there the day after the tournament and just spent a couple of hours there chilling because we had the late flight. But it was really nice. It was really nice. We played chess. Yeah, it was good. I lost horribly.
We went to a cafe and Lockie immediately got picked up as being a Melburnian. Yeah. He ordered his coffee and the lady's like, "You're from Melbourne, aren't you?" That was good fun. So we checked out the venue. It was pretty cool. I don't think I've got any issues with it. It was great. Toilets were just outside. It was a pretty decent space to move around. It looked small, it looked cramped, but I never had an issue moving around. So I actually think it was pretty good size for it.
I think some of the table configuration was a bit weird.
Picking which groups of tables or the numbering of tables was a bit odd.
Numbering of tables was a bit weird, but apart from that,
it
was good. Like there was space on each table to put your extra stuff.
Yeah, that was really good. I liked
nice.
that. Yeah.
I need that.
With your GSC,
I really needed that.
So many more. You had movement trays and everything sorted out. You were on point.
Yeah, by the end of the tournament, I stopped using the movement trays because.
Oh really? You just got faster at it, or?
I was just faster, and I needed to string them more than I needed them in the blob.
That's fair. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In fact, now you need round movement trays that are very specifically sized.
Yes.
Yeah. But so that was really cool. We checked that out, and then we walked back to check out accommodation. The walk was a nice short walk. That's all I'll say about that.
No comment.
We checked that out. We went to accommodation and we cruised around. We did check out while we were up there good games in Newcastle. We played some practice games as well as just did some hobby. I had a bunch of painting to get done. Lawrence had the aforementioned magnetising or blue tacking at this stage, given the lack of a pin vise. Yeah. And we hung out there for a few hours. Great people. We really enjoyed the store. Really interesting collection of magic boosters, if anyone's interested. A bunch of old ones. That was my big takeaway. Yeah, but they seemed nice.
Yeah, cool.
It was good.
Yeah.
No pin vise.
No pin vise.
We tried. But yeah, so we checked them out. That was good fun, and we went back and I think we went back to the apartment we were staying in. We spent the evening playing poker and stuff. Yeah, it was a good night.
Using Monopoly money. Yeah. Yeah. That was really fun.
At some point, we need to do a video where Lawrence gets drunk because it's hilarious.
There was never a point that I was drunk.
That's what it was.
He spent the whole weekend saying that. And I think, did anyone believe it? Maybe he got someone at the event.
You guys were the one who's drunk. I was never drunk.
Probably.
Yeah, on that Friday night, would beg to differ.
But that was a good time. If you're ever travelling, teams events are the way to go, and this is exactly why, because you get to go up with your mates, and you are part of a team, so you get that whole camaraderie thing going on, and you get to hang out and have fun, whether you drink or you don't, or whatever you do, and it's always a fantastic time. Yeah, I've never had a bad team event going away. That's been good.
This is my first time going, not interstate, but on a plane to an event.
I was about to say at all because
no, to an event.
Yeah.
And it's actually really good. I'm glad we did it in a teams event because it was a lot of fun, and I would recommend it to
Yeah, it is. It's really good.
Anybody who wants to play competitive 40k, or even just
and plan time around it too. I had to fly out straight away to get back to work, but you guys got to stay the extra day, and I was there a day early, and we just got to as a team just hang out, cruise around, see the sights, check out the locality. It was cool. Yeah. Honestly, it was one of the highlights of the whole trip was cruising around with you guys for a day, just hanging out.
Yeah, it was really nice. It
was good.
Yeah. Even the day after, because you went you left on the Sunday.
Yeah, Dylan and I had to leave Sunday night. I had work Monday morning.
Myself, Carl, and Lawrence stayed for most of Monday, and then took the plane back on Monday night. Yeah. But so we got to hang out in Newcastle for pretty much 6 hours or something. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So it was pretty cool. But yeah, we just checked out the bay and stuff. But yeah, it's really nice. That was just really nice wind down time.
Yeah. After the event. It was really good.
I would recommend take your time.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so then Saturday morning rolls around, and we all cruise down to the event. We've got our armies and all of our fancy Bunnings baskets. That the lids immediately got stolen by rival teams to use for movement trays for their armies. So check out Blog for the Blood God over on YouTube. He does some fantastic stuff. Bringing army trays to events is not one of them. So yeah, we rocked up, met some fantastic people. And Saturday morning, bit of a rocky start with some unfortunate car troubles, some of the players. So Gumby team had to be sort of shifted around and reintegrated back into other teams. There was a bye for that round and so on. But we did get started a little bit later than planned, and we had a round 1 in 2 knobs with a K and a Z.
As opposed to the other knobs.
As opposed to the other knobs
without a K and a Z.
I don't think we ran into, but they were there.
They were there, yeah.
So we ran into them, and I suppose this is we'll do a quick rundown of which armies we're taking, just so you guys have a rough idea of the games we played. I was running Eldar, nothing too surprising, 3 Fire Prisms, a Lynx, and 10 Wraithguard.
Incarn?
With the Incarn, which I suppose is a little bit surprising. The Incarn was premium.
Incarn is very good. I rate it.
It needs out of all the things that need a nerf, that's one at the top of the list, and people aren't talking about it, and they should.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
I took GSC, the other boogeyman at the moment. I think it was 130 something bodies. I worked it out at one point. 1 Ridge Runner, and then
pure filth.
2x5 bikes. Yeah. I wasn't running the big 10-man bike blob that a lot of people were. I don't rate it, but
we'll talk about why you don't rate it in a a litit too, because that's a really interesting game.
But yeah, so
I mean, we played a practice game before the event, and we're both both of us are running just pure filth.
Yeah, it's pretty
and both of them were just it was awful. I was playing my army going, this is bad, and you're playing your army going, this is bad.
Yes,
and we're both both our armies are awful.
Yeah.
So that was
it was. I was exhausted playing that list. By the end of day 2, I was absolutely exhausted.
It
was good.
But yes, and then Lawrence, how about you? What were you running?
I'm running Custodes.
Hence Trajan for Lawrence.
Army, yes.
Yeah. Yep.
So you had, what did you have? It was all infantry build with...
Yeah, all infantry,
the 10-man
1x9 of the guard, and then 1x4, 1x6 of wardens, and then at least 3, 4, 3, 5, at least 7 Alaros in different configuration, and then obviously you have Trajan.
Yep.
You have the Shield Captain and the Blade Champ, and then...
The Blade Champion Advance and Charge is just
so
horrific.
Good.
Yeah.
And then
Trajan just ignoring everything.
Calidus Assassin and Witch Seekers.
Very nice. We also had with us Dylan, who was running my Necrons for the event. He was running a 20-man Warriors, 10-man Lich Guard, along with a Transcendent Catan for its teleporting shenanigans. Before its buff, it was still busted, and it's even more busted now. Reanimators, Doomsday Arc.
Suite of characters.
All the characters you would expect.
Some destroyers. And
Hexmark, etc. Yeah. It's good stuff. Running all the Necron good stuff.
Hard to deal with. For a lot of armies, very hard to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Lockie was running Chaos Knights. It was the 14 armigers?
13.
13 armigers.
And some utility.
Yeah, a bunch of, was it the Brigands?
6 Brigands, I think.
6 Brigands. I think 2 Stalkers?
2 or 3 Stalkers.
And then 5 of the...
3 Huntsmen or something, and then 1 Executioner, something like that.
Yeah, an Executioner, Huntsman, etc.
It was all little knights. Yeah. And a lot of the... And as many double shooty as you can take, pretty much.
Yeah, so basically no carnivores.
All the Brigands that you could.
Yeah, no carnivores, because we actually saw a couple of lists that had a bunch of carnivores in them, and we were like, well... You just got to get.
It's a different take.
It is a different take. You just need to get too close. If you've got shooty, you just never get that close. And so that was our lineup, and we of course had the fantastic Carl as coach. Absolutely phenomenal.
MVP.
over the weekend, the amount of value Carl brought to the team, being all over pairings, being all over how we went into lists, advice for tables, all that kind of stuff. And then just during games, just being there as a reassuring presence, going, yep, here's your water. Yeah, I can check that rule for you. Yeah, here's how the rest of the team's going. It was absolutely fantastic.
I think every round, because I'll always have a big turn two, right? Because that's the drop turn for GSC. And every round I would have my half an hour turn, whatever it is. And then he would go, wait, drink some water. And it's just like, that alone is like, oh my God.
Yeah. If you go to a team's event, take a coach. They're vital. They're a super important part of the team. And like the work that they do is hard. Like they do a lot of legwork, a lot of stuff there. So thank you, Carl. Always, never underestimate what it takes to actually be a coach and do a good job.
You did an amazing job.
Yeah.
You did an amazing job,
Yeah, so round one, as I mentioned, went into knobs. And this was, you played into Ben, which was...
Yeah, played Orcs.
Played Orcs. It was a very close game by the looks of it here.
It was, yeah.
It was a 10-10 team score.
Yeah, so I hadn't played this matchup before.
Yep. None of us have played into like Orcs, T-Suns.
Yeah.
We're our two big, we just don't know how they function.
Yeah, so I think I was maybe the first put up in this.
I think you might have been,
because I think I could take everything but the Nids was the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and they gave us Orcs and Nids, so I took the Orcs.
Yep.
And it was an interesting game. It was kind of like a tussle over the middle.
Yeah.
He would move into the middle, I'd do my drop turn, kill a bunch of stuff, then he hit me back hard because everything charged. It was very interesting.
I think it was definitely a pick to just take Orcs out of the pool for the rest of the team, because we don't know how they work, and we know that GSC will score like a 10 every time, no matter what, basically.
It should.
So took one for the team there, and turned out well. You got 10-10, took an unknown out of the pool, and then left it wide open for the rest of us.
Ben was also a very nice guy. He was awesome.
Yeah.
So
I want to say I didn't have a bad opponent all weekend.
Yeah, me neither.
I think everyone was awesome. That was cool.
For sure.
So then we had Lawrence. You played Mahali.
Necrons. Yes, I played Necrons. So this one I had a couple of practice already, right? So I know what I wanted to do, which I think I was able to do my plan and just don't deal with the Lich Guard. So I just played around it and then just score points as well.
Because your big 10-man brick is one of the things I look at as a Necron player and go, that'll kill what it touches.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter how good my reanimation protocols are, that'll kill it first.
And that's the only time also that I put Trajan in the 9 big squad of the guard, because at least I would ignore modifiers.
Yeah, because typically you'd put the Blade Champion, right? So they just get in.
Captain,
Yeah. All right. So you scored what was it, like a 14?
I think it was a 15-5 or 16-4.
16-4, I think it was. Very nice. I played into a Marine player, Arian. Absolutely lovely bloke. We had a fantastic game. We had a really good time. Did not go well for him. It was Eldar, like filthy Eldar into Marines that were like kind of tech to deal with Knights. And it was it was horrific.
Yeah, it was kind of the matchup we wanted to.
Yeah, like so we got the choice on that, and we basically went, you just take that. So it was a good game. Arian, lovely bloke. What I did to you over the table was very rude, but he was a lovely guy. We had a good time. Yeah. Lockie played into James. Was into Tyranids.
Yeah.
And they were like monster spam, like big monster Tyranids, not horde spam.
18 zone thropes as well.
And all the zones, So it's a bit of like an off-meta pick. It was interesting. And then Lockie had a pretty close game. I think it was a 12... no, it was an 11-9 into him there. It was a pretty slow game for both of them, because it was a lot of... surprisingly enough, a lot of the Knights and stuff do play a little slow, because you've got really important decisions to make.
Yeah.
So it went right to time, ended up with an 11-9 there. And then Dylan played Jake, Necrons into...
what was it?
What did he play for round
I think it was Guard, indirect Guard.
Yeah, that's right. But it didn't have Basilisks, it wasn't...
We didn't have all the indirect, they had some
Manticores
indirect and then tanks. Yeah,
that's right.
I think.
And so that was a pretty good game. It looks like it was like an 18-2, 17-3, around there.
I don't think Guard really has the firepower to deal with that.
Guard do struggle at the moment.
It was another matchup that we were quite happy with.
Yes,
Yeah.
It was a pretty good round overall, and it sort of shot us right up nice and early.
Yeah.
Now, round 2, and this is something that we do need to preface, we played into a team called Simplified and Simple, which was a team made up of 5 of the Australian WTC players. Yeah. We're not going to talk about which ones they were or what armies they were running.
Or their lists.
Or their lists and stuff, which is a shame because I think this one and our other round into one of their big teams were some of the most interesting and stuff games and experiences I've ever had. I learnt loads playing the 2 games I played into them. But we're not going to go too much into it because their list sub is, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah, it's very soon.
And we've got to, and there was a whole thing like that they couldn't make lists public online, and there's a whole thing around that. Little bit of a kerfuffle before the event about which lists were available and which weren't. But suffice to say, we won't go into it here. It was a good round. We went down pretty hard.
Yeah, turns out they're pretty good.
Yeah, funnily enough, the Australian team representatives going to the World Team Championships that won it last year, pretty good at 40k.
I thought I had a chance, but only in my dreams.
Yeah, so we went down 75 to 25 their way, which was pretty brutal. I think, my game was the only win in the lineup.
I took my 1 point. I was happy.
You took your 1 point, and big shout out to Dylan taking the other 4 points. Into Liam Hackett in the Necron's Mirror.
We can talk about which players, so I'm not sure.
Okay, all right. Well, so
talk about which players? Okay.
Yeah, we just want to talk about that. So, all right. So, Dylan Cowan played Liam Hackett, scored a 4 to 16.
That was,
I played Will Milton with a 20-0. Lawrence played Alex Terrison with a 0-20. Ed played into Brodie Middleton with a 119, and Lockie into Jez Martino, who you've seen on the channel before. So go check out that video and more to come with again another 0-20. So it was a pretty grim round. This was one of the two.
I do think something went wrong in the pairings for us.
So, as in our pairings process,
and what happened? Because it's hard to say without going into the factions, but some of the matchups were not great for us.
I think what happened is, and I think I say this with humility, is we ran into Jeremy Martino, he's
the king of pairings.
The king of pairings. Who took the Australian team to victory last year. He's very good at pairings, and I think realistically he probably outplayed us. And well done to him. We had a good chat with him afterwards and learned a lot about pairings for our next rounds as well.
We did,
which definitely helped us out a lot. But yeah, that said, it was a fantastic round. We won't go into details about the games because that would then require us to talk about lists and so on. They were excellent. Thanks everyone.
All very nice. Yeah. They were all lovely to play.
Absolutely.
Actually, in my dreams, I won the game. Just in my dreams.
So a lot. That would have been good. But yeah. So then round 3, last round of the day. This round has a highlight of my entire weekend as far as games go. We played into Lasgun's Melt Steel Beams. Which does have a WTC player who we're not going to pull out or mention their list, but this has a game that both Ed and I want to talk about in it. So very quickly, we'll go over everything else. Lockie played into whatever he was playing into there.
What was it?
I've blanked on it.
Tyranids again.
I
was, yes.
With 7-13, so pulling it up. This was into Horde Tyranids. It were just bodies everywhere. This was one of the matchups that was rough for any of us to deal with. So Lockie, took one for the team on that. Dylan went into Leagues of Votan, which was a really interesting pick to see there.
Somebody forgot to advise him.
I didn't talk to him about it beforehand because I went, they're bad. But of course, one of the things that, as a Leagues and Necron player, in my head, I know the big 10 brick of Hearthguard just deletes a Necron Warrior unit. It's reliable, it does it.
It's scary.
It's the only good thing in that index, and even that's questionable, but it does delete a Necron Warrior brick pretty much every time. And of course, I went, of course. Didn't think twice about it. Dylan, not aware of that fact, and I definitely should have talked to him about it beforehand. Didn't get a chance to. We didn't actually discuss that pairing beforehand. He still won with a 12-8, but he pushed his Warrior Brick forward and it just got eaten turn, I think, 2, which was pretty funny.
He still pulled out.
He got a 12-8, so he still pulled out well. Now, Lawrence, you went into Zach de Glass with a 5-15.
Because he's an Eldar.
Yeah, that's right. You went into the Eldar.
Now this was double Night Spinner Eldar, is that right?
Oh yes,
Against Custode is a rough time.
Oh sorry, you can't advance. Oh sorry, this.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't advance, and then your move and charge is -2 to movement.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was
You're
pretty.
Now Death Guard moving 4.
Yeah,
enjoy.
Pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
This game was like next to mine, and I could see, and just the pile of Custodes on the dead pile was just growing the whole game, and I'm like, it's concerning.
Yeah.
But yeah. So do you want to talk about your game? You played a mirror into GSC.
So I won't say who I played against because of WTC reasons. But yeah, so I ended up with the mirror, and this was kind of, you know, I hadn't practiced the mirror yet.
Yeah, so very difficult too because none of us play GSC anywhere near your level.
The theory was, okay, is it better if I take GSC out of the pool, or I can't remember what the other pick was, or something else?
I think it was their NIDS.
NIDS or something,
and we sort of went, well, the GSC mirror is probably better because we've got a couple of other armies that can probably handle the NIDS. GSC, we just kind of need it out.
So we were like, okay, let's just take that and see what happens. And it was a very interesting game. Probably the highlight of my weekend, I think, my favorite game. So the big thing was I think this mission was get extra points at the end, right, for holding objectives, I think?
I think, yes, you're right. So this is, I forget what it's called, priority targets. And then if you hold points at the end of the game, you just score extra points. You can score up to like 30-something or 25 points at the end of the game. You both score
in your command phase in turn 5, and then both of you score at the end as well. So going second.
Oh, premium.
It's very good. So that was we discussed, we looked at each other's lists and we're like, okay, we both know what everything does.
Yeah.
We kind of can estimate what's going to happen to some degree.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, I think we can both exist until the end of the game, and it'll be whoever we go second has the advantage.
Yep.
Turns out this was not the case.
No. No.
So how the mirror goes is if you want to go first, because the drop turn, it's just turn 2, is absolutely horrendous.
Turns out the GSC cooked profiles are even more cooked into other GSC.
The Neophyte, because I was running 4 Neophyte bricks of 20.
Yeah.
And he was running, I think it was 1 or 2.
I thought it was 3 because he saw the bikes for the mortal wound dump.
I think it was 2, but he had more damage charges than me. I think. Like
Acolytes. Sorry, I'm thinking Acolytes. Yeah.
But actually, the profile of the Neophytes is perfect in this matchup. And I kind of had inadvertently made a good list into the mirror, which was quite lucky for us because I was able to destroy pretty much 2 flanks of stuff.
Yep.
Like both flanks.
And then because your blip before his do, you got to come up and get rid of all of his.
Yeah. So I was able to
screen
no, you can't
come back actually.
Pretty much 2/3 of the board.
Yeah.
Except for the 3-inch strat, which meant
nobody can screen that out.
Yeah,
like,
nobody can screen that out. Right. Yeah. But I was able to do a string out, 9 inches everywhere else in turn that I dropped as well. Yep. So you could drop 2 units with using the copy strat with the Nexus to do 3 away.
Yeah.
But other than that, he couldn't really interact with me, and I was able to push him into a corner. So yeah, devastating damage, and then so he would hit me back, do not as much damage.
Because he hasn't got as much on the board because you stopped him getting there.
Yeah. And then.
And it just means that you get to dictate the entire game. You choose what he targets with what and when it happens.
Yep. And then because we both got blip downs now as well, but I still have stuff in deep strike. Because I can take stuff off the board and bring it back, right? So then I can deep strike 3 away and destroy his blips before he can touch mine.
Yeah.
And keep shooting. So it ends up being absolutely brutal with like how much stuff we have, and it's really swung my way very heavily.
Yeah.
Because he just can't bring stuff back, and I will always bring stuff back because I have the units to screen it, even from the 3-inch stuff, because I can make a 20-man huge, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very interesting, and because we're both playing GSC, we both kind of knew exactly what our units did, and it was a very freeing way, not having to explain GSC to the person
every 3 hours round. Explaining how your army works.
So yeah, it was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was a one-sided game in the end. To me, it was a 20-0.
Yep.
Which
very
I was very happy with, of course. But yeah, lovely game, and a lovely guy to play against.
Yeah, it was sick.
Yeah.
So that round as well is the game that I want to highlight as probably the highlight of my weekend that I can talk about, which was into Chaos Space Marines, played by Sam Littler. Absolutely fantastic bloke, Sam. We also at the same time turned out that he had the football up on his phone. We're both Cat supporters, go Geelong, and so we had the football going, and both of us were on the same team for that. So that was kind of cool, the whole game. Yeah. So I'm playing my filthy Eldar into his Chaos Space Marines. He's got Abaddon with the big 10 Terminators. He's got the Possessed Bomb, no Master of Possession in it, which was an interesting choice. 3 units of Raptors, 2 of 5, 1 of 10. Chosen, Rhino, 1 unit of 4 Blitz.
The Blitz are nasty.
Yeah, they're nasty. Yeah. Although, turns out, not so nasty when you just dump 3 fire prisms into it.
Yeah, well...
yeah. And then... Yeah, he had something else as well, cultists and stuff, just for backfield objective holding. And so this became very much which brick of stuff, my Wraithguard or his Terminators and Possessed, get the drop on the other. Because both of those can delete me pretty easily. And I sort of went, well, I've got all the firepower, be really interesting. So the game ended up being a draw, 10-10, team-wise. So the game itself, the score was 100 my way to 95 his way. So we both scored almost perfectly the whole game. And it was just this cat and mouse for 2 full turns. I had to go first. I got to use the Rangers to fully screen out one side of the board, and just use Rangers and Illic to play keep away from his guys, because they get the free 1d6 free position if he moves within 9. And then using Phantasm on my Wraithguard, not actually to move them out of charge range, but to move them right up close during his turn. So the way that actually worked, and the thing that sort of tipped the game in my favour, it was turn 2, I believe. No, it would have been turn 3. Turn 2. Mid-game, his Terminators are firmly in the middle of the board, and his Possessed are running up one of my flanks. It's quarter deployments. The flanks are like the corners. He's running up the long corner, chasing down my Rangers. And I've got a decision to make. I've spent all of turn 2 not killing anything. I failed to kill any... I put a bunch of firepower into all 3 Raptor bricks, didn't kill any of them. And I needed to for secondaries and just to get the Incarn up somewhere it could do work. And I had a decision to make. I'm like, well, my Wraithguard are sitting here. They're going to get charged next turn no matter what, right? But I can choose where they get charged. So I actually charged them into the middle of the board, into a squad of 2 Raptors that were left next to the Terminator brick with the baton, and went, all right, if I charge them in there, do enough damage with them, and then make sure, because I still have my shoot back ability on them, make sure that they can hit the Terminators enough before they hit them, there's a game in this. So they charge in, they kill the Raptors, the Incarn teleports up, out behind a building so it can't get shot the next turn, and the Wraithguard actually screen the Incarn to stop the Terminators from coming around them to hit that. And then there's this turn where basically everything goes into the Terminators, into the Wraithguard, sorry. He drops the Blitz, they split fire, kill a Fire Prism, and try to target the Wraithguard, try and whittle them down. Wraithguard shoot back. I actually put half their shots into the Possessed just to try and weaken them, because I'm concerned they'll take my flank. Drop a few Possessed, drop a couple of Terminators. Terminators go in, and turns out the -1 to wound on Fortune really makes a difference.
Yeah.
He dumps full rerolls, I think, to hit, but not to wound on the Terminators. Okay. Because he's holding that for Possessed. He dumps that on them. They run in. They leave 2 Wraithguard and the Spirits here alive at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
It was big. The fact that they survived, I spent Strands of Fate, Fate's Messenger rerolls just to keep those ones alive. But at the end of the turn, he had 1-on-1 wound, 1 at full health, and the Spirits here left there. And then at my turn, I regen 1 back, I fall back and shoot and charge with them, fall back, shoot and charge his cultist on his home objective, fully get behind the building in his home territory, taking his objective, forcing him to decide either to bring his now heavily mauled Terminators back to deal with them, or keep killing for me. And now suddenly I'm in all quarters of the board. He doesn't come back for them, which means they get to keep regenerating Wraiths, they keep coming forward, keep doing damage. By this stage, both the Possessed and the Terminators are weakened to a couple of models each, and I've cleaned up the rest of his army. We're coming very close to time at this stage too. We're playing pretty fast. And we end up just going to the point where I've just got more things to do stuff with than he does. And I've got better board control at this point. We went right to time, ended up, 195. Absolutely phenomenal game. Sam, thank you. That was one of the best games of 40k I've ever played, and definitely the best game of 10th I've ever had. So, thank you, man. That was good. Highlight of my weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you go, Lawrence? Round 3. How'd you find it?
No, it's
rough.
a miserable game for
Elder.
me. No need to talk about, because it's against Elder. So yeah, they just eat custodians alive. But yeah, before you go to the next day or round 4, just a question coming from you, Tichna.
Hey, Hugh.
Genuine question.
Yeah.
How are you guys enjoying the actual gameplay itself in the 10th?
How deep do we want to go with this?
Look, I'm enjoying it. I still like playing 40k. If that's the question you're asking, I still enjoy playing it. I don't think it's as polished a game as a bunch of other stuff that GW make and a bunch of stuff other people make, but I still have fun, and that's what's important, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
as a competitive game, the phrase that we heard more than anything else all weekend was, "I think that's how that works."
Yeah.
And that pretty much sums up how 10th is.
So you'd play against the WTC guys, and you know, you'd have something would come up. In every game, something would come up and be like, "I'm not sure how this works." And it was generally like, especially the WTC guys as well, was like, "I'm not sure, but that sounds right."
Yeah.
It's like nobody knows what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
And the rules, there's still so much ambiguity in the rules.
They did today, the day we were doing this, release a like a errata to try and clear some of it up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's helped a lot. Some things have been fixed, but
demo charge stuff is still ambiguous, so I don't know.
Yep. There's still a bunch of stuff that's ambiguous.
As for the play itself, this might be a controversial opinion, but I kind of like Ninth more, to be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, I think I'm not sure yet, because I think it's very easy to get like the state of the game as a whole at the end of Ninth, which was genuinely like pretty good.
It was very good, yeah.
Comparing that to where we are now, I think I'm finding it hard to necessarily separate those two parts of it. I'm certainly enjoying 10th. It's a further step away from like the way 40k used to work, which is fine, I think, because Heresy does exist and you can play that, and I do, and it's good fun.
I mean, obviously, in terms of balance, the game is not balanced.
Yep,
at the moment, not even close.
It's wild.
Teams helps with that a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, the game's not balanced.
No,
just not. But I mean, they can fix that. But from a core perspective of like some of the core rules, I think the game also needs some work. Like Overwatch is ridiculous. In my opinion. It
could use a bit of tuning.
Just like 24.
The game, there's a lot of ideas in the core rules that are really cool.
Yeah.
And they just haven't quite been developed out to fruition, I think. Leadership and the way Battleshot works. I love the idea of the mechanic. It's way better than 8th and 9th. But it's just not... It's not quite there. It's not quite polished enough.
It's not really relevant.
Exactly, yeah. There's not enough like modifiers and things that affect it and bring it into relevance.
Yeah, I think the only time it was relevant for us all weekend was for Lockie on game 3.
Yeah.
Against Nids, which can trigger Battleshock army-wide. Yeah, I don't think it came up once for me. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's kind of like for some armies it's going to come up every game and it's going to be awful. And then some just never care about it.
Yeah.
And that's not really a great place for a mechanic to be. There needs to be some sort of adjustment to it. There needs to be things like, you know, if you're under half strength, you immediately take one at half battle shock or something like.
I don't know
if that's the way to fix it, but there needs to be some more play with it.
Yeah, I think the
core mechanic for it, I think, is actually a good idea.
Yeah, I think the bigger problems are things like Overwatch, things like towering, things like.
Yeah, towering just needs to be scrapped. Like it's bad.
I don't know.
It's really
thought of that one.
Well, it's bad. Not just it's bad for everything they want the game to be. It hasn't simplified anything. It makes games more complicated to play. It hasn't sped anything up. Games are slower when you're facing towering armies. I played into 2 Knights lists over the weekend, and having to deal with the difference between what towering can see and what non-towering can see and where things are slowed games down massively. It's probably one of the biggest things that caused those games to run to time.
Yeah. So I'll just the reason people might be like, oh, why is he talking about Overwatch so much? But I just want to highlight why.
I'll second it because it's cooked for me.
Playing GSC is probably like a good example of why it comes up so much. So the wording on Overwatch is start or finish a move, or start or finish a charge, I believe.
I believe
I'm not sure about the charge one. Usually it's move phase stuff that I care about. But so this means that anytime you move something, I'm basically asking my opponent, do you want Overwatch?
Yep.
So if I have to pause the game at every stage that I'm like
which at a competitive level you have to do, because if you don't, your opponent gets to go, oh, you're trying to stop me overwatching something here, I'm going to call a TO.
Because I have to drop in one unit at a time, right, on my job turn.
Yeah.
Because if I drop everything and go, do you want to Overwatch, he knows the whole plan and he can pick the best place. Yeah.
Whereas you need your opponent to decline to Overwatch on certain things. Exactly. It came up in our practice game where we did a back and forth about how certain turns would go if we Overwatch or didn't at certain times. Yep. And it's really important for both players to know when that's happening.
But what it does is it slows the game down
massively.
A lot.
Yeah, you're correct, Mr. Ed. So it says an enemy unit that starts or ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So it's...
when I was playing like Thousand Suns, I keep on asking, do you want to Overwatch? Oops. Do you want to Overwatch?
Yeah.
Do you want to Overwatch?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it matters for me as well. Like because I kept having to stop my opponents moving and go, wait, I need to decide this. Because I've got the Wraith brick, and their job is basically to Overwatch, get Overwatched, and just shoot. Like, it's their whole thing. So every time my opponent did something, I'd be like, hold on a sec, is that where I want to use that?
Yeah. And then sometimes you'll be like, they'll be thinking about whether they want to Overwatch, and then so you're clocking over to them and being like, they're deciding. Therefore,
its interaction with a clock is really weird.
Because it's a decision point for them after every move.
Yeah, the same thing with that I found the Incarn moving around. I found the same problem.
Yeah.
For me at least, is that I had to go, all right, I've killed this thing. Let's or this thing's died, whether I've killed it or you've killed it, whatever. No one do anything until I've made this decision. Yep. That is potentially game changing. Yeah. And I ended up coming to the point where with each of my opponents after about after round 2, I started having a conversation where I went, look, if I've got something that I want to think about for that, I'll leave it on the table, but I won't, anything that you kill in the next time until I've removed it, I'm not going to think about, I'm not going to jump to any of that because I haven't made this decision yet. And they were all fine with that as long as we sort of had that chat about it. But it just meant that I had to slow the game down just to play it.
Yeah.
Like not even to for any reason outside of like, if I want to play the game well, I've got to think about this because there's so many different things this affects.
Yeah. So this is the last thing I'll talk about. But the other thing I don't like is the charge and fight phase now is, in my opinion, much worse than it was in 9th.
It's weirdly more complex to deal with.
Yeah, because now there's like a lot of scenarios where you need like an 8-inch or let's say like a 3-inch charge to make it, but you don't want to roll more than like a 6. Because if you roll more than a 6, your unit is forced to wrap around because you are able to base them, therefore you must. And that
I found myself using Strands of Fate like 2s on charges, which is wild. I'm like, I'm going to use a 2 definitely.
So and then
make sure I don't do that.
Having to then map out and visualize, okay, this model is going to move here so I can block my other model from purposely moving there. It's just like, oh my God. Yeah. Why can't I move just how I want and then...
That's what you call
it's... Yeah. But it's slow, is my point, because you have to work out every model in advance and then move them.
I think this is something that might adjust with time. I did find even by the end of the tournament, I was getting a lot faster with stuff like charging and stuff because you get used to it.
Yeah, for me it was horrible because it's 20-man bricks.
Yes, and it's just horrendous. And you've got like 2 of them and then a bunch of 10-mans.
Yeah. And definitely. In one of the games, I won't say which, but it was a 20-man versus a 20-man.
In the mirror, yeah.
In one, yeah. Yeah. And it's just horrendous. Yeah. It's just horrendous. Yeah.
Yep. So, so I think that's our opinion on it. Overall, I'm still enjoying it.
Okay, do I still like playing 40k? Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's the big takeaway. It's very easy, and I feel like this every time we say negative stuff about it. It's very easy to be negative because the stuff that we don't like stands out like a sore thumb. The stuff we do like is a lot harder to pick. I like a lot of the ideas in 10th. The idea of Battle Shock is awesome. The way it works, less so.
OC's great.
OC's great.
I really like OC.
That helped a lot of the weekend. That made a lot of things faster, actually. I'll say it. It cleared up a lot of problems of the way stuff worked.
It's good.
It was good, yeah.
Yeah. We go on to...
Unless there's any more questions to bring up, I think we'll cruise on to round 4. Alrighty. Good. So round 4 was into the other big WTC Australian team we played, which had, I think, 3 of the 5 players were players from the team.
Players or coaches, yes. Or affiliated.
Or affiliated or so on. Yep. So we won't go into too much detail there. Suffice to say, I played into Deneath, because we talk about who they are, but just not what they're doing. I played into Deneath and got a 10-10, which was, I think I still won the game, but it was very, very close, 68 to 63. This is like second pick for best game of the weekend for me. Just the amount we both learned from it and stuff, but I can't talk too much about it. It was really good. Deneath was an absolutely legendary book to play with from the Normal Blokes podcast up in Brisbane. Yeah, he was sick. Mad lad.
Awesome. So I can talk about mine a bit more.
Yep.
I played against Mr. Richard Hill, who was playing Chaos Space Marines.
Very nice.
And we actually played on stream. We played on what's there?
Scotty. So it was the Australis Tabletop Network?
Yeah.
Or Australis Tabletop Gaming Network, which is of course led by Scotty49D, who is coming down to stream our event, Power Behind the Throne, on August 19th and 20th on said network. Okay. So make sure to check them out and come down to our event so you can be on the stream and say hi to him and to everyone.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of weird playing on stream again, because it's not
it's not our stream.
We played on stream a fair bit, but it's not our stream.
Well, because we present, whereas games at tournaments like that, you kind of don't, you kind of do.
Yeah.
Like you've got to be clear at what you're doing so the person commentating can know, but like you don't have to present, which is it's always weird for us.
It was cool. Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah. So it ended up being a 10-10. It was a very interesting game. 12 obliterators is pretty scary.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a lot of indirect. And yeah, the amount he could kill with Fortunes and...
Yeah. Well, because the fact that the 12 obliterators, the turn they all deep strike, you can be like, cool, I can't see you, that's fine. They're all going to deep strike behind this wall and all going to use their once per game indirect and just obliterate half your army.
Yeah.
So
it was like a game of chicken between obliterators and demo charge acolytes. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
10-10 draw for that one.
So we had Michael Duke played Lockie, it was 20-0 to Michael. And Christopher Wright played Dylan. Absolutely phenomenal showing from Dylan in this case. Pulled 4 points out of him, a 16-4. I just want to highlight that. Again, I can't go... Chris Wright is a machine. Absolutely lovely bloke, by the way. If you ever meet him, he's like a wonderful person. Absolute machine at 40k. Yeah. One of the best players I've ever seen play, period. And Dylan pulled 4 points out of him. Well done. That's not to be underestimated. Yeah. And then Lawrence, you played into Macca. Yeah, Josh McMillan. Bit of a rematch for you.
A rematch for me, and it was a lovely game. So we score an identical score again.
13-7.
Yeah, compared to my last game with him.
Which was at the Australia-New Zealand Team Championships back in April, May, whenever they were.
7 in his favor. So one day I'll get back at you, Mr. Josh.
So this team was, I think, mostly comprised of New South Wales team players, apart from Deneath.
Apart from Deneath, I think everyone else was a New South Wales team player. And then Deneath was there because being on the, I think he's the coach for the WTC team. Because their lineups are all announced, it's just not what they're playing.
Really cool to play them.
But yeah, it was really cool. Lawrence game against Macca was really cool. We had a chat with Lawrence afterwards about, apparently it went really well. And yeah, Deneath, lovely bloke. Thanks for the game, man. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. So we lost to them, of course, 69-31. We won round 3 and we lost this one. So we're at 2 wins, 2 losses so far. The losses aren't horrific, but the wins aren't like amazing either.
Yeah.
So going into round 5, we basically went, cool, we need to absolutely demolish this round in order to jump onto the podium or up into 4th place, which is sort of vaguely our goal for the weekend, just to put in a good showing. And we went into Easy Dubs B, which was a good round.
Yeah,
it went well.
It was fun. It was a good end to the weekend.
It was a good end to the weekend. I had a lovely game with Hugh. It was good.
Yeah.
So we'll go through that quickly. Yeah. So I played into Hugh Severn. He was on Dark Eldar, which was a matchup that again, like we weren't super familiar with because Ed and I both played Dark Eldar but haven't been doing a lot with it.
Yeah.
And it was a matchup I was weirdly a little worried about. He had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you get a lot.
Like he had so many units, and so much transport. He was so fast, so many Dark Lancers that I walked up the table and I'm like, oh, actually, like I'm concerned. Like I think you can pump enough fire into me from range at angles that you might be able to cause a problem. And then I think I went first. Turns out Dark Elder are not a problem.
Poor Dark Elder.
And it was, once again, much like our first game, absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but props though. I think he was the only Dark Elder player at the event.
Yeah.
So,
like, look, Hugh, you played them really well, and look, you took it really well too. Like, we had a good game. Like, we were really chill.
Yeah. Zombie looked great too. I didn't look at it.
It did. It looked very good.
Nice.
It looked really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that went like that. Yeah. Now, Lawrence, you played into Amira Custodes.
Yeah, but a bit of a handicap because she has somehow illegal list. So
yeah, so unfortunately, the team their team list lineup included knights as an ally to the Custodes and knights in the actual team lineup as well.
Yeah.
Which at a teams event isn't allowed. You can't have more than one person bringing anything from the same index or codex or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So we pulled it up. We were looking at their lists beforehand. We were sort of, that's an issue there. We sort of went to Hayden like, look, we'll bring this up here. We're happy for however you rule it.
Yeah.
I don't think we were too worried about it, even with the knights in the list. But Hayden went away and came back and sort of went, look, you guys can't run those knights. Which, like, it's a shame, but that's the way it happens sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, from my understanding, it was like a last-minute swap to that player.
So so it was definitely a very understandable mistake. Like I don't think anyone, they definitely weren't trying to do anything. Like they were just like, they've picked those, they know they can borrow those models, they've done that. And it hasn't worked out.
Still a very good game, lovely opponent. It's like a chicken and mouse between the 10 brick of the guard against my 10 brick of guards. So it's just so funny that, all right, she was staying in the other side, and then I would just also be staying on the other side. No one can kill.
Because you're both really slow.
Like, it's just a matter of like, because most of my utilities, right, like the wardens, Alaruses went to the left flank, and then she doesn't have any support for this 10 brick of guards.
Gotcha.
So I think that's what gave me the game.
And yes, that was 16-4 your way. Now, Ed, you played into Joel. How did that go?
So CSM again. This was again very interesting. It was a different.
You Lockie and I played into the 4 CSM list 2 went into, right?
Yes, I played into 2. I think you played.
I played into 1.
Lockie
played 1.
1 as well. Yeah. So this one had the possess bomb with the Master Possession. It had Abaddon with the Termies. And then it had Huron with 10 Chosen as well.
Mad lad, Red Corsairs, love to see it.
He was basically like, all right, I'm just going to push everything in and see what happens.
Yeah.
How
does Huron go?
Huron's not bad.
Yeah? I'm going to try him out.
It was kind of hard to judge because I targeted the Chosen first because they were kind of by themselves. Yeah, I'm sorry. So they didn't, I think they picked up a 20-man though. Because I killed like 5 of them, and then Huron and 5 more killed like
20 guys.
15 guys. 18 guys or something. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Pretty impressive.
Not bad.
Yeah. I need to try Huron in 10th. And I've got a lot of Chosen, so it's a really interesting one to throw them together.
So by the end of the game, I'd pretty much killed everything bar the Terminators, and I just let them sit on their objective and have a good time.
Yep, makes sense.
And I controlled the other 3. So
because this was the 4 objective mission.
This was
which is a really interesting one.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the center. There's just one in each quarter, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And you can score quite a lot of primary if you hold 3 of them or even 2. Like it's pretty wild.
It's good.
So it was very. Joel was awesome guy. So
and so you scored a 12-8 into them.
Yeah.
Then Lockie got a 10-10 into Michael. Was this the mirror?
Yes, this
is Chaos versus Chaos Knights
into Chaos Knights. And he had a very similar list, but it had I think a big knight and a bunch of carnivores instead. 2 despoilers with carnivores as well. And the despoilers were the claw and the big thermal lens.
Yeah, the huge one.
Yeah.
And
then Dylan played into Alex, won 11-9, Necrons into Imperial Knights. Yep. Because and then that was that round. We won that one 69-31.
Yeah, the pairings for this one was very interesting because the double knight is quite a interesting puzzle you got to solve.
The double
knights on their team.
Oh, two knights,
having Chaos and Imperial.
Well, I think
especially because they both had big knights.
Yeah.
So the table.
I think the problem with it was they didn't have Eldar or GSC.
Yeah.
So we got to rock up and go, cool. Well, we have Eldar, GSC, Necrons, and Chaos Knights as our good knight counters.
Even Custodes.
I mean, even Custodes for that matter. But Chaos Knights and Custodes being the worst of those 3 choices.
Yeah.
I think Necrons and GSC score around them, and I just kill them. as we knew very well by that time of the tournament.
Yeah. So I think our pairing, shout out to Carl again.
Yeah, Carl did a fantastic job.
With Carl at the helm had improved significantly throughout the tournament.
By this point, we had a 5-minute conversation before this round because we thought we were going to be paired to a different team because of the way Swiss pairings normally works. Yeah. But because we had no warning that we were paired into this team, we had like a 5-minute conversation before the round, and we basically went, cool, well, I can handle this, and this. And then Carl went in and just went, cool, we're going to take that, we're going to take that, we're going to take that, we're going to take that. It was textbook, it was really well done. Right. Yeah. And that was a really cool part of the event as well, was seeing how that evolved.
Yeah.
And so for a while we were sitting in 4th place. We thought we were pretty chuffed with ourselves. And then a couple of teams that were submarining just perfectly popped into 4th and 5th. So we were down in 6th by the end of the event. And yeah, congratulations to the winners, Simplified and Simple, and then coming in 2nd place is that a boba in your pants. You're just happy to see me, which was a team that I'm kind of sad we didn't play. That was Gus and Stu and Soli and a couple of other fellows that we know. Yeah. It would have been a fun round.
It would have been. They're very good players as well.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I just want to play Gus and Stuart.
Yeah, they're
cool.
They're also from Victoria.
Also from Victoria, yeah. Came up with us part of Team Victoria for the Australia-New Zealand Team Championship as well. And those were the 2 WTC teams in 1st and 2nd. And then you had, Pink Prancing Ponies managing to pip that 3rd place. Well done, guys. You played well and you played the tournament better than we did. On you. And then No Income, the
next WCC.
Yep, the other one we played.
We played them in round
in 4th. Easy Dubs, not Easy Dubs B, which we played, but the other Easy Dubs, again, just popping us out of points there. Well done, guys. Well played. And then we are down there in 6th, hanging out. It's cool. And yeah, so that was the weekend. Those were all the games. They announced all the prizes and stuff. There's a bunch of prize support from a bunch of great sponsors. Go check out their Facebook page and stuff for all of those.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
The event, I had a few hiccups and things and a few different bits and pieces of organisation, but overall it ran well. We played 5 good games, had a good weekend. So thank you, Hayden, for running it. Congrats to the Steel City Showdown guys and everyone up there. Yeah, it was cool.
For sure, yeah. It was really nice to play against people that you don't normally play against.
Yes, well, one of the big highlights. We play each other a lot.
Yeah, and especially people in Victoria, we play a lot. Especially me and Lawrence go to a lot of tournaments in Victoria.
You guys are more of the travelling tournament players. I just kind of rock up every now and again for a bit of fun.
Yeah, but to go to another city, another state.
It was cool.
And to play 5 people I've never played before was really nice.
And teams events are the way to do it.
Yeah.
Seriously, guys, if you can get yourself a team, go to a team event. Yeah. Reach out to the TOs beforehand if you haven't got a team. At this event and at a lot of them, including ours, we're kind of we're able to put people together. If we get a few people who are looking for a team, we'll kind of put a few of you together and get a team happening. 100%. It's I hands down, it's my favourite way to experience 40k.
It kind of, we talked about balance a bit earlier between the armies, but this kind of
teams
solves it for itself, and you kind of, even if you lose to Eldar, even if you don't lose by too much, you still give your team play and give them something towards a goal, towards the win, and it just solves a lot of problems with the balance of the game.
It does. It's got its own little inbuilt balancing mechanic in the way that team pairings work, and it's really cool. And 100%, my favourite way to experience 40k, and one of the best things you can do for a weekend. Yeah. And then Dylan and I had to fly out that night. You guys got to hang out for an extra day.
So Lucky were left on Monday morning.
Yep.
And then myself, Carl, and Lawrence stayed until the evening.
Make sure to check out our vlog for some of the hilarious footage from that day. It looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we checked out the bay, stuff like that, just had a walk around. It was a beautiful day. It was a really nice wind-down time.
Cool. That pretty much sums up the whole event. I don't think we really missed anything that we want to touch on. Lawrence, anything else you want to add?
I think we watched a movie, Titanic, the last day.
Oh, did you?
A little Easter egg there for you for the vlog.
Yeah, check out the vlog. That was good.
The context on that.
And then Hayden is plugging up his Facebook page, Southern Cross War Gaming.
Southern Cross War Gaming over on Facebook. Go check them out.
For sure.
So that was pretty cool. Any questions down in chat or anything like that?
So far, I've asked you their questions, so maybe let's give them at least 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, fair enough. So chat, if you guys got any questions and things, ask them now. Otherwise, we'll just wrap up and head off. I think we're all still pretty knackered from the weekend.
Yeah. I think I slept 10 hours on Tuesday night when we got back. I was exhausted.
Yeah, I was also sick like last Tuesday.
I had to go to work for like 12 hours straight the next day. That's why I had to fly out. And I'm like, I've made a terrible mistake. Yeah.
That's the other thing. If you fly for an event, take
time off. Afterwards. It matters.
Yeah.
But yeah. Look, the event was sweet. I think it's probably my last big competitive 40k event for a while. Not for any particular reason other than for 40k, mainly because I'm excited for Epic coming back and painting little mans, tiny little space marines. Yeah, that's good.
Awesome. Yeah,
it's gonna be on the channel. It's gonna be good.
How's chat doing, guys?
Yeah. But yeah.
No questions. So cool. Hayden is just plugging up. They have another event, Teams event in August 26th to 27th. Yep. So in Central Coast, another Teams event by.
Is that Medawi or Maitland? Or just Central Coast?
Check out the Facebook page.
Just check out their Facebook
page. After you've come down and had a great time at the Power Behind the Throne on the 19th and 20th, go check out their Teams event in Central Coast on the 26th and 27th.
And then first week of September, I believe me and Edward also will be heading out to Brisbane for another singles tournament.
This is the TNA Open in Brisbane.
Is the Norblokes one?
Yes. Or the Northside Alliance.
Oh, the Northside Alliance.
It's an 8-game event. So
I was very tempted to go to this, but
probably I would die again.
I got stuff to do. But yeah.
Yeah. So the team we played third round is the guys.
The guys from Northside. Yes.
Yeah, they were.
Lasguns, Melt Steel Beams.
Yes, those are the ones.
Mad lads.
Yeah, they were really awesome. So check them out as well. Northside Alliance, I think, on Facebook.
Yeah.
No questions so far. So go ahead and wrap it up, boys.
Well, I think we'll wrap that one up. Thank you all for joining us while we chatted about the event. We had a good time.
Oh, yeah, had a lovely time.
It was cool. Going away with these guys was mad fun.
Yeah. Thank you, Dylan, for joining us on this adventure.
Mad lad, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was a pleasure having you.
Absolutely.
Carrying the hell out of us as well. And then also Carl, the other man.
Couldn't have done it without you, Carl, our captain coach for the weekend. Yeah. Phenomenal stuff. Again, if you go to a Teams event, get yourself a coach. Yeah. It's great. They do fantastic work. And if someone asks you to be a coach, don't be like, I want to play. Being a coach is really cool. You get to experience an event in a whole different way that you'll never do any other way. So it's cool. Yeah. But yeah. Right. Without any further ado, thank you all for watching. Check out all our sponsors, link down below. And while you're down there, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell button. Catch us back at normal programming next Tuesday, as well as with a bunch of exciting new things on the way. And watch out for the vlog where we go over this event as well.
100%. Yeah.
Thank you, Hayden, for running it. Thank you for watching. See you guys next time.
Bye.